Ever wondered why? Actually, have you ever wondered to yourself, like we joke as young kids when we talk about Jesus and Mary and all the stuff, we used to laugh and have a joke. I wonder what Jesus would think if we started having a joke, about, just the whatever we used to do as kids and the songs that we used to sing in his name, and we used to change the words. Do you think he'd laugh, or do you think he'd scold us? Do you think he'd send us to hell for joking about things, for taking things too light-hearted? Do you think a God would laugh looking over you when you joke about religion and the Creator? Or do you think he wants us to be solemn and serious and to always take his name in this solemn and heavy energy? It's always interesting if you believe, just simple questions like that you would ask yourself. What do you say? Do you think Jesus was a bit of a joker? I mean, if you believe in the true teachings of Jesus, didn't he turn water into wine? Well, there's either two things there. He turned water into wine because he was very clever, a conjurer, or he turned water into wine because he was an alcoholic and he believed in wine and that we should all drink it. And you know what wine does to people, right? It's very strong and it can turn people into alcoholics. I had a good friend who turned into an alcoholic by just drinking wine. And they died not so long ago, and it was tragic to see their life. Every night they had to drink 1 to 2 bottles of wine every night. So they didn't have a partner. They just had this lonely life, drinking alcohol. So I wonder why, the metaphor of, I call it a metaphor. If you are religious, you will believe that Jesus turned water into wine. And why would you turn water into wine? Well, if you're religious, you might believe that turning water into wine, the wine would it would be a symbolism of Jesus's blood or God's blood, where you drink the blood of Christ. Why would anybody want to drink the blood of Christ? I mean, if you don't joke about these things, then you're going to go crazy, right? Like I ain't going. I used to, knock Peter Can. Peter used to laugh. I'm saying, I ain't going up there. I'm not drinking no blood. What do you think? I am a vampire? I don't want to drink any. I don't want to drink I'm not eating the body of Christ. Yeah, but some of us got abused by the priest, but that's okay. No problem. It's all God. It's all good. It's all good. So the way we try to get over our pain and suffering was to joke about it, to laugh about it. Back in the days, I've heard horror stories about nuns and how they abused young children. I heard horrible stories up to this day of how many men in cloth abused, raped children. And you expect me to love the idea of religion? Go figure. You laugh at my belief system. Go figure. So I just want to play something for you all today. And it's a great reminder. This lady's been talking about this for ages. I don't know if anybody you remember the Stephen Greer disclosure event where he got lots and lots of people to talk about UFOs and that they were real. The one thing the only thing out of all of that 5 hours of disclosure that I watched, there was one thing that jumped out. I'm not saying it was all lies, not at all. I'm sure most of it was true. But one thing that rung true to me, my consciousness, was this lady. Now, bear in mind, von Braun was a monster. We all know this. But the fact that he was telling this lady about this certain thing that he kept repeating to her because she spent time with him, something rung true to me. So let's listen to it.
And the funniest one of all was against what he called aliens, extraterrestrials. That would be the final card. And over and over and over during the 4 years that I knew him and was giving his speeches for him, he would bring up that last card. And remember, Carol, the last card is the alien card. We're going to have to build space-based weapons against aliens. And all of it, he said, is a lie. A lie. I think I was too naive to know at that time.
Let's listen to it again.
The funniest one of all was against what he called aliens, extraterrestrials. That would be the final card. And over and over and over during the 4 years that I knew him and was giving his speeches for him, he would bring up that last card. And remember, Carol, the last card is the alien card. We're going to have to build space-based weapons against aliens. And all of it, he said, is a lie.
Okay.
A lie.
When I heard that was, you know, like when you read a book, you'll read the whole of the book, but then one passage, one sentence will just jump out at you. Well, back then, years ago, when this came out, that was the bit that jumped out at me. That was the most important thing for me that I listened to. Right. So what does that mean? And why is it that aliens are now, you know, coming out in the open? Why didn't they come out in the open, you know, last year, the year before, the year before? Why now are they're coming out of the water, lots of them, and they're all being seen everywhere? Nobody really knows. But when you hear somebody like this woman talking about von Braun, who was the godfather of Rocketeer, the guy that was in Germany that did horrific things to people because they didn't work hard enough. We won't talk about that, but the guy was a monster, and he was brought over to America, and it's okay, you're working for us now because we want this technology. And they certainly got the technology. So do I believe in UFOs? Yes, I absolutely do. Do I believe there's an extraterrestrial race? I think there's literally probably hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of different consciousness souls and different spacesuits with greater technology. Do I believe that we were merely an experiment? There feels like there's some truth in that. Do I believe that we are the experiment, that what we are is the spacesuit, not the consciousness, by the way? A lot of people make the mistake that they think that we were created. No, the body was created. So it's like they made a spacesuit specially for this world to for whatever purpose they want. Just like we as human beings will take a certain animal and mix it with another animal, and then we create a Shih Tzu or a poodle with something else, you know, a bulldog with a Shih Tzu, and that gets you a bullshit, right? So what I'm joking, but you understand what I mean. So now that comes out, okay, that's the spacesuit. But what's inside that spacesuit is consciousness. So it's something about this world that consciousness comes into. So as soon as something is created, there is an instant consciousness that goes inside. That's the life force that keeps it alive. So yes, I completely believe in extraterrestrials. I believe there's lots of them. I believe wholeheartedly that I met one and did a reading for one, and I explain that in my book. Am I 100% certain it was? No, but it certainly felt something like I've never felt before. Have I ever read for an angel? I believe I have. It was, again, another a weird, strange story. And it was incredible to me. Both stories were incredible. It's like, were they real? I spent weeks and months and years contemplating, was it real, or was it just, just something that happened and these people disappeared and this person just came from nowhere and then went, and it just weird circumstances. Do I believe they walk among us? Absolutely. I think we are extraterrestrial in origin. That's the spacesuit. I don't think we are. I think we're all extraterrestrial. What does it even mean? What does alien even mean? We're all alien to one another. We can't even get on with each other. We look at each other with color and treat them as an alien. Oh, you're from African. Oh, you're Aboriginal. Oh, you're an alien. Oh, you're a shaman. You're an alien. It's just another way of divide and conquer. But whenever mainstream media puts something out, I always believe that they put it out for a reason. It's been put out there for a reason. They don't just put news out for the sake of putting news out. They put it out there for a reason. So it's all by design. So it's interesting, the conversations now that are leading people to probably a new war with a new country. They'll use that as an excuse. They'll want to, depending on who's running this world, they'll use whatever they can for the outcome that they want. Are they getting that outcome? Not so much now. And that leads us on to a subject on a topic of what somebody said here, which I'd like to just bring up, which nice to get these topics. Nice to hear people have their opinion without a doubt. But I did a little post here. And the post was, again, it offended quite a lot of people. I've had some emails from it. So as you can see, there's Tucker Carlson. Behind Tucker Carlson, there's Joe Rogan. And in front of Joe Rogan, there's Elon Musk. So you can see the leader of the world is Elon Musk because he's right at the front. Then Joe Rogan, then Tucker Carlson. So they put them in certain places. As you can see, that you can clearly see that that's been put there deliberately. Joe Rogan is definitely in front of Tucker Carlson. So this is giving you a script. And as you can see, I said, well, you can't see it. It says, same script, new actors, bread and circuses. So some people understood what I said. Some people take offense because they're in a place of that energy. So Craig says, I really can't accept this idea that everyone is dark. Well, I didn't say they were dark. There's nothing mentioned about me saying they're dark. And evil in the public eye. I'm not saying that evil is in the public eye. This doom and gloom actually empowers the darkness. Okay, let's just stop there and let's just look at this. So doom and gloom, right, which has been said there, empowers the dark. Okay, so let's just break down dark. Okay, darkness. Okay, what happens when you're in the dark, guys? Anybody, children? That's right, you can't see anything. So darkness keeps you from seeing anything. Therefore, that really kind of doesn't make any sense because truth is light. What is light? Well, light is that where you can see. So the whole idea of always saying that I don't like what you're saying and it's making me feel bad, it doesn't really hold any weight, really, because if we talk about what is light and dark, what is that you cannot see and that you can see, is basically who you are at any given moment. I have never been as lightened and as happy and as filled with joy than knowing truth, than seeing the truth, than seeing in the darkness, and now I'm in the light. So it's wonderful because I can't get tricked anymore. You see, when I was in the dark, I believed everything that I was told, and I went along believing I was joyful and happy. And what I found was that there is no joy and happiness in that, none whatsoever. And the reason why is because when you are in that energy of, I believe, darkness, which I thought I was in the light because I had no understanding about anything, because I believed my government, I believed my doctor. I was sick all the time. I had irritable bowel syndrome. I was depressed a lot of the times. I was chasing my tail like a dog. I was just losing the plot of life, and I was blinded by the darkness. But then soon as light came and I started hearing things and seeing things and started to open up to new ideas and new thoughts, I started to become enlightened. I was now starting to see from darkness to light. So what happened then? My irritable bowel syndrome disappeared because I figured out why I was in the darkness. Now, if it wasn't for those that shared information with me, that told me, oh, by the way, pal, there's probably a reason why you've got irritable bowel syndrome. And the issue is the tablets that you're taking is probably making you even sicker and iller, which the doctors are giving you. And maybe you need to look at something else as an alternative view to seeing things, which at first you can be triggered and tell the other person to F off or stop making me feel bad. What's all this doom and gloom telling me all of this stuff? So I embraced it and started looking into it. And although it was difficult at first, I then realized, because all of us do, that we've been hoodwinked, lied, manipulated. And once I got over myself and went, wow, then my eyes started opening. And then I didn't believe anything what was ever told to me by the mainstream doctors, nurses, by anything to do with any mainstream media. I didn't believe anything anymore. And I started to become more aware of alternative, and I started to see the light. So is there truth in Craig's message that all this doom and gloom is going to make it worse? Well, how are we ever to bring out the light and the truth if we don't look at things in the way that we are, okay, we're not manipulated, we're not hooked onto the God complex of others, they're not gurus to us in our life, they're not the messiahs, they're not the ones that will fix this world. When you break free from all of these people who are talking the perfect talk, okay, the script, it's just another script. They're all scripts that they're giving you. And every one of them has their own purpose. Some of it's selfish. Some of it is their belief system. Some of it is that they may be compromised. Some of it is that their dad might be in the CIA and they were brought up that way to, be manipulated or to be brainwashed without knowing. Some of them might be just honestly believing what they believe, and some of them are part of the very establishment by way of contracts with governments, and they're in bed with them, and they just speak a good story. So it's all interesting. Whether you believe it's doom and gloom, no problem. Look for somebody else that gives you the light. If it's doom and gloom, get yourself off and find yourself somebody else to watch, okay? But you ain't going to stop me from talking my truth, because what you're doing without even realizing is that you are part of the very, as far as I'm concerned, the very structure and the matrix that's stopping truth from coming out. You're telling me, I don't like you saying this. You're making me feel bad, so you want me to stop. Well, get over yourself, pal, and get yourself off and find somebody else who fits into your beautiful bubble and who talks exactly what you want to talk. Do that, but keep it to yourself, mate. Best way is keep it to yourself. That's my feeling. I'm not asking anybody to believe me. All I know is that what I look at and see in front of me is three people who are now taking over the world in the way that everybody knows them, and they feed from that. They feed from it. They want to be popular. That's what they've always done. They've always been in the center of attention. They've always wanted center of attention. They always want to be the best, the biggest, and the most powerful. They want to run the world. You know, they've all got a bit of God complex. All of them, a need for speed, a need for, you know, whatever it is. One of them does heavy drugs. One of them is massively into religion, Christianity. The other one is, I actually have no idea what the other one is. I still don't understand who Elon Musk is, but I have no connection, feeling, or anything towards any of them, because they lead us in a direction that, for me, I don't talk about. Anybody who talks about politics and anybody brings you into politics is bringing you into the very energy that they want you to be in. And every one of them, whether they say they don't like it or not, or they don't like him or they don't like her, they're still bringing you into politics. It's all politics, guys. It's all politics. And what is politics? Well, they're all parasites. That's all feeding the system, and it's keeping the system alive. You can't change the system because the system stays exactly the way it is. You only strengthen the system or weaken it. I choose not to have a system. I choose not to, as much as I can, not to get in the system's energy. I try not to feed it, but I have no choice because I'll end up in prison if I don't feed it, by way of illegal or immoral, more than anything, immoral taxes that they take from us that they shouldn't touch. We're the only species in this world who have to pay to live. It's absolutely insane. And people still go back to the very nature of this idea that if it wasn't for politics, then the world would be in chaos. Well, you can believe what you want. You could go to different countries and get killed anywhere by Muslim, by Sunnis, by Africans. You know, there's good and there's bad, and that's the way it is. Politics, for me, it's all corrupt. All of it. No matter what you think, no matter who's in power, there is corruption taking place. And the corruption means that they're getting their way. The way that they want is the way that they're going to push. It's not about you. It's never been about the English, the Americans. We want to make America great. We want to make this great. It's all bollocks. All of it is just words, meaningless words. Just like when the president said, "I'm going to send this person to prison," and that, look at how many people they just let off. The scallywags they let out of prison by way of, they're allowed to set you free. It reminds me of the life of Brian. We wish Wadwick, right? So we can release one person. Well, they released a lot of people, a lot of scumbags, but they never released the good people who were in prison that shouldn't be in prison. Anyway, you could go on forever. At the end of the day, religion is very much like your philosophy, your belief system. So you're gonna, if you bought into the Trump, the mega, there's nothing I can do because you are now part of your belief system. Is that's going to make it great until 5-10 years down the line, you realize that you've been shafted, like every single president, every single person that's come into power, anybody that you believe was a hero, everybody that was the greatest singer or greatest actor. You give it another 20, 30, 40 years and you'll realize that they weren't quite the person that you thought. So when you realize that, the world is completely fake, absolutely fake, completely. Somebody asked me a question about somebody called GG33. Is he genuine or not? I have no idea who he is. I presume... I don't know who he is, so I can't say. I don't know what GG stands for, but 33 GG kind of looks like 66, and 3 and 3 is 6, 666. But somebody 666 which could be evil, could be somebody else who studies numerology. It could be something very powerful. So it depends what you think about the way things are. Just like the way you think about the Bible, I think of it as a metaphor. Some people think it as absolutely truth, and everything that's said is 100% truth. So I'm wrong to them, and like I might think they're wrong. But the thing is, it doesn't matter who's wrong or right. In my humble opinion, we all have our experience, and it changes. The one thing that I always look out for, if somebody says I'm right, I'm the best at this 100%, I know 100% this is real, this is right. I think it is for you, but it might not be for somebody else. I mean, I've often said that when I've worked with certain people as a healer, that I've seen patterns, and this is what I believe is real. Doesn't make it real. It just means that my experience shows me that that's what I saw, and my observations was real. And some people are going to say that's bullshit. Some people are going to say, oh, that's amazing. I had a crystal that I worked with and put it on somebody's heart chakra, and it was incredible. Or I placed a crystal on my heart once and everything changed. And then somebody else will laugh and say, crystals, I think it's time to go. This guy's crazy. So, there's the point being that everything that we talk about today leads us to one thing, that nobody knows the truth. Everybody's experience is different. Everybody's going to disagree with everybody because nobody really has the same experience. Everybody's been brought up a different way. Everybody's been brainwashed in different ways. Everybody's been programmed in different ways, and things change every day. And what we believed 5 years to be true, in some people's cases, it wasn't truth. It was a lie. In other people's perception, that their truth, their experience was 5 years ago, everything is exactly the same as it is now, because we said that them jibby jabs were going to cause people issues and people were going to drop down like flies. We're here today watching loads of children, adults dropping down like flies. And as on a side note, can you imagine if anybody believes the mainstream media? The latest thing that I saw was sunlight is going to cause people to have sudden death. Everything that the mainstream media tells you, turn it the other way around and you are going to be far closer to the truth. The mainstream media now is absolutely the evil of the pinnacle of evil. There is no soul. They are scallywags. They are bought and paid for, and they are just hooers in their own right. They're just prostitutes. Every mainstream media is a prostitute. I swear to God, that is how I see every one of them. And shame on every single person who writes a blog saying that the sun is going to give people heart attack. I mean, for God's sake, you know as well as I that the sun is the most vital part of our energy. If we don't have the sun and the rays that are coming through and touching our skin, we all die. Everything dies. The food dies. The ground dies. The plants die. The fruits die. The water dies, everything goes stagnant. The sun replenishes, gives energy, feeds, it revitalizes, it electrifies our body. It gives us so much in our cells. It feeds everything. So when monsters and disgusting human beings that are monsters inside this bodysuit start writing these things and never held accountable for, and never stopped on mains. Why is it that is allowed to be on Instagram? Why is it allowed to be on Facebook? Why is it allowed to be on all these mainstream apps? Why is that allowed? And why isn't it censored? Why isn't it ever underneath it says, like the headline is, the sun can give you a heart attack if you're in it too long. Okay, why isn't it underneath that says farce checkers, fake checkers, saying that this isn't true? But you see, you realize that everything is a lie, and it's allowed to be put out there. So the question is, why is it that so many people who actually do speak the truth, who are censored to this day, why is it that the Joe Rogans grow, the Tucker Carlsons grow, the Elon Musks grow? I tell you why, because there's an agenda, and the agenda is that they let certain people, they cast out their webs and pull all these people in because they say the right thing, and then they drive them to a certain direction. Whether you believe, like, you still got to understand that the left wing is attached to the right wing. That's an old saying that stems back many thousands of years ago, right? That it's attached to the same body. So whether you believe that, oh, Trump's now the savior, no, he's attached to the same body. The same body is going to still rule the world and still going to do what it does. It might seem differently to you, but it will still continue. The suffering continues, and you will see it. You will see it in maybe 20 years, 30 years. What was once madness is now truth. What was once lies, they said were lies, is now truths. But then again, I hear all of these people talking, and for me, the red flag is, why weren't you talking when this first, why were you not saying anything? Why did you shut up? Because they're compromised by way of, they don't want to lose their channel. They don't want, there's certain things that they have to obey by, whether it's an invisible entity or whether it is by a physical entity. They're both the same. You're still enslaved, whether it's in the mind or whether it's somebody telling you, you better do this or else. You better not do this or else. Sometimes the silence is so deafening to people like us that we realize that, hang on a minute, you weren't saying anything when all this was happening, and we were all getting shunned and laughed and mocked and blocked. Don't give me that shit. Now you're all big and powerful. Hang on, mate. But the damage is done. The damage is done. They've done it. They've created all of this inside millions and if not billions of people. Billions. Who knows? We don't know the real truth anyway. But we can certainly see everybody dropping like flies. So that they've done it. So they can say what they want. It's amazing how it works. It's so sophisticated. It's unreal. And that's just my observation. There's certain things that I always say that you have to watch out for when you start to support somebody or start to believe somebody. Be very, very careful, because if you start to believe somebody, it means that you become almost I don't know the right word, but the word invested seems to spring to mind when we talk about certain people who are swaying you into buying stocks and shares and stuff like that, or even Bitcoin. Like, there's loads of examples that you'll never hear about. I hear these stories because I get them sent all the time, but I don't really bother so much. I'm like, well, it's people do what people do. They lose all their money. No problem. Not my issue. Not my pig, not my farm. But there's known truths out there where somebody will become famous, okay? And when they become famous, people bow down to them. So again, they've got this God, this is my God, this is my guru. And they start to invest in them, in everything they say and do. They don't have a thought and mind of their own. They just follow whatever somebody says, okay? And I'm not going to start pointing fingers, but I can tell you there's some podcasts that are very dodgy but sound really fantastic. And what they do, and what you'll have forgot, that a few years ago, these podcasts were publicizing certain things, right, to sell. So when they give their talk, in between it, they'll say, hey guys, I'm invested in this company, and this company is fantastic, and I think you should invest in them. And they're and then you're so invested in what they're saying, because they're giving you the truth, what you want to hear, that all of a sudden that's the net. They've grabbed you in now, so you're all bought in now. You're all invested. So they're going to get you now. So here's an investment. Put your money into this. This is what we recommend. I've been buying it. It's fantastic. What they won't tell you is, like 3, 4, 5 years ago, there are families, there are people who listened to those people and invested hundreds and sometimes millions, hundreds of thousands and millions into these companies. And guess what? The companies go bust. And then nothing happens, nothing's said. You'll never hear it or see it on social media. Their money's gone and it's finished because they bought into somebody, okay? Now you can say that that's free will and they can do what they want. What I find fascinating now is there's another level of this, and it's the new influencers. And the influencers can be anybody. There's stories every day of influencers basically ripping off people every day, but they don't care. I think there's one flying around at the moment that somebody told me about not so long ago, and I said, are you joking? It's of a girl who got famous because she talked about giving a blowjob, right? She became famous and she was known as, I can't remember her name, Eagle or Hawk or something like that. Somebody sent it me ages ago, and I said, for God's sake, are you serious? Anyway, loads of people loved her because of that. Just like loads of people love women who have sex, and then the tapes come out and everybody sees it, and then they become mega famous. Same thing. They just lose the plot over what? Sex. And you tell me this earth is a godly earth? This earth is hell earth. Because why would you follow and listen to somebody who's sending messages about blowjobs, or talking about it, or doing it, or having sex, and you're watching them and idolizing them? And why is it that they are blown out of proportion? So anyway, going back to this, then they tell you about a certain thing that you should buy into. Or I think with this one could have been something like a Bitcoin or something, and they brought a Bitcoin out. I have been anti-Bitcoin from the word go. Why? Because I don't trust it at all, and I know it can be easily manipulated, and anybody can bring out a Bitcoin. So like I could bring out a bit. Look, it's easy to scam people. It's the easiest thing in the world, right? So I bring out a Bitcoin. It's called Moldavite Bitcoin. You all buy into it, and you all the Bitcoin says 1,000, and I said this Bitcoin is gonna be huge. You're gonna make so much. It's gonna be worth 50,000 in a year. So your 1,000 is gonna be 50,000. So you all sell your houses, sell your cars, all your savings you put into it. So now Bitcoin, in my Bitcoin, Moldavite Bitcoin, there is 50 million. I've got 50 billion in there, right? And I'm the major shareholder. You know what? I think I'll just take out my money now. So my money, I bought 90% of it, and I've got 90% shareholder of it, right? And it's cost me nothing. It's cost me, I don't know, 10 grand, right? Or 20 grand. But now I've just made myself 40 million. I've pulled out of it, and now the Bitcoin goes down to nothing. You've just lost all your money. I've just stolen it. Now, guys, this happens every day. It happens every day. Why? Because people inside, certain people, there is no morals. There's only money. There's only greed. And most people just don't give a shit about other people, and they're looking for a way to scam them. And to be fair, I believe that 99% of the system creates that. It makes people into that as well. So if you are that kind of person, then you're going to jump onto the bandwagon. So I have, for me, a hard day's work what I've earned is feels right to me. So when I make when I buy a crystal and then I work on it and sell it, you get a crystal. That's it. I don't sell something that is a Bitcoin, or I don't tell you to go and mine this mine or go and buy this or that, because I have no idea about any of that stuff. Just like I have no idea. I don't want to know about it. I don't know nothing about it. It just doesn't feel right. And from my experience, I know a lot of people who made a lot of money on Bitcoin. And I know a lot of people who made a lot of money on Bitcoin as zombies. And I'll tell you that they're my friends. I'll sit with them and say, you're a zombie. And they'll go, what are you talking about? I said, you're a zombie. Look at you. You're always on your phone 24/7. You're watching your Bitcoin. You are hooked. You're bought and paid for. Your life is absolutely meaningless without Bitcoin. That's all you are. All you talk about, all you think about all day. Why? Because why don't you just pull your money out and then do something and create and make something? They go insane and they turn into zombies. So I saw that, and I don't want to be involved in that. If you've ever been involved in stocks and shares, you go crazy. You buy the computer all day. I've got friends who have been so overwhelmed that they went depressed, and they're on the streets, some of them, not here, but in other countries. They lost everything. They thought that they could manipulate it, or they thought that they knew the system. They thought that there were patterns in the system and that they can see when to sell and when to buy. They ended up with nothing. You let me tell you how it all works. It's really simple. There's a club, and the club determines whether something is going to be good or not. They're gonna tell you to make you believe that this is powerful and it's brilliant and it's gonna make a fortune, and then you're gonna believe it and you're gonna buy into it. What you're buying into? You're not buying into nothing. Just somebody who's telling you this, or it's on a blog, or it's on the news, or somebody's giving you some inside information. What are you buying? You're buying confidence. That's all you're buying. What confidence? What does confidence mean? What is it? It's not tangible. It means nothing. But the greed within people will always fall for it. Oh, there's an opportunity to make loads of money. Yeah, let me tell you, guy, money is work hard every day for your money. That's it. If sometimes you become lucky and something happens, then fine, it just happened. But if you're trying to make money on Bitcoin, not like who's the owner? Who's the owner of Bitcoin? Oh, he's a god. He's a god. What do you mean he's a god? Well, we don't talk about him in that sense. We talk about him as a spirit. I mean, he's opened up every. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Who is it? Well, it sounds like to me that that's been set up by somebody, and somebody is very clever of how they set it up. And in the end, you will see that was only a hook to bring you in, to pull you into the very nature of the beast, which is AI. It's all to do with no more money. It's all to do with credit. It pulls you all in the right. Oh, but it's different. It's different. Why is it different? Because it is. Elon Musk, all AI, brain chips, swallow the chip. Oh, but it's different. But it's different. Why is it different? Because it's different. Okay. Yeah. Makes sense. Completely. You make sense. So there you go. So that's it, really. I just wanted to chat. I must lose more people on here than ever. I must lose so many friends on here for speaking my truth. But you know what's so beautiful? To speak your truth and feel liberation, feel liberated, not to to feel the fear which they want you to do. Just click on Netflix and type in any of the movies. You'll see the word fear all the time. I don't fear anything anymore, guys. I have no fear. I don't fear death. I don't fear I don't fear anything. I don't fear people. I don't fear criticism. I don't fear judgment. In fact, now, if the BBC haunted me and came after me as one of their ways, like they've done to many people, richnet.com, Richie, I can't remember his name, but they came after him not so long ago. The BBC, can you imagine the absolute monsters called the BBC came after richplanetnet.com. I can't remember his name, and they jumped on him while he was at a stand selling his books and doing kind of the English version of Alex Jones, basically. And that, you know, he should be proud of himself, really. Although some people don't like him, you know. I have some of my friends who don't like him, and I don't know the guy, but I just see it this way. Sometimes you don't even know who you're talking about. I don't know whether that guy is genuine or not. My friends tell me he is. You know, Alex Jones, if you believe him, you know, it's funny how that his father was in the CIA, just like Tucker Carlson. And like Mark Devlin always says, how come the dads are never a plumber? And it's so true. So it's fascinating when you look into it. So that's it, really. Give over was the title today. Give over. Listen, you can think what you want, feel what you want, be as angry as what you want, hate me, love me, doesn't matter. I'm not here for any of those things. I'm just here to speak my truth. And as a healer and somebody who speaks his truth, will never stop speaking his truth, not for anybody at all. And I have many people who ask me to speak about certain things that I have no interest in whatsoever. I speak about things that I feel are important in the moment. Whether they are good for me or bad for me is irrelevant. I don't care how my reputation or how many people I lose or how many people I gain on my platform. I don't care. The truth is what we should be speaking, our truth. Whether we believe our truth or not doesn't matter either. We express ourselves, because the more people who talk about things, the more we can look upon this world in a different light. If we are fully focused on the mainstream media, then we will be all poisoned by now. We'll be all dead, most of us, if we'd have followed their lies and manipulations. So the truth comes out where people start speaking their truth. Then this new truther movement comes out, which then gets hijacked, which is now even worse than the mainstream, because there's so much lies out there everywhere, and there's so many fake influencers out there that it's very, very difficult. And so many people are being stuffed every day, who are being lied to, manipulated via whether it's politics or whether it's, I don't know, sales, whatever it is. What I spoke about today is simply the truth. To anybody else, this is doom and gloom. To many people, this is doom and gloom. But I see it as a great wake-up call to make me think a little bit more about stuff. Whether you believe it, whether you don't, doesn't really matter. But if it stirs you a little bit and makes you just open up to have the conversation in your mind when you're driving in the car about it, then that's a good thing. Because when you talk to yourself, you talk to your consciousness, and your consciousness will always speak back. So that's my feeling. You're all fabulous. Thanks for being here. There's 111 on right now, 111 people on right now. I wish you all a lovely day, and I want you to take care of yourself. And take care, everybody. See you later. Bye for now. Thanks for joining me.